Hello, everybody. It's Leanne Clune from Radiant Books, and I am here with Sasha Bonnay.
Hello, everyone.
We are super excited to be able to present this incredible masterclass to you today. I am the publisher and creator of Radiant Books. Radiant means emitting rays of light, shining bright. After 16 years of running my own finance business, I had this huge project birthing from me. I didn't know how it would look, but I followed my intuition and it divinely unfolded. Last year, I was an author in a multi-author book, and it absolutely catapulted my business. After that experience, I knew I had to add a very niche publishing company to my existing finance business. This brought together all of my innate skills with communication and people skills, and also my vast experience in finance and business building. So I want to go a little bit into storytelling, and then we will introduce ourselves properly. Storytelling is something we all connect with as humans. It is in our DNA from our ancestors. It was a means of survival in ancient times. Our ancestors would storytell to provide life trainings to their tribe. It's an extremely powerful way to connect with others. Writing my personal stories in several collaboration books now has been an incredible gift, propelling my business trajectory and growth. However, it does need to be done strategically from the start in order to increase your visibility, impact, and create a legacy for yourself and your business. All of my decisions as a publisher are put through three big filters when I'm making decisions for the collective community. So that is, how will this increase the impact, visibility, and leave a legacy for my authors? In business, it's not enough to be an expert in your field anymore. People want to be able to get a glimpse into the authentic, real you. You don't have to tell them everything, but let them into your life a bit more. Let them know what lights you up and the other facets to you that exist. We are all multifaceted human beings. Present yourself as a holistic self and not just as a business self. Soulful storytelling is a powerful marketing tool which inspires and ignites your audience. It provides us with an incredibly powerful way to connect to our soul clients in our business. Now I'll go over to Sashua to talk about a little bit about what we are covering today.
So welcome everybody to our masterclass, Activating Your Vision in Business and Life through a High Vibration Book Collaboration. We are delighted to have you join us today, and thank you, Leanne, for that very heartfelt introduction into just the importance of storytelling in all of our lives. So today we are going to be covering 7 chapters in this story. Firstly, confident connection with ourself, our audience, and our stories. Inspired activation through clarity, vision, and action. Visibility in the marketplace as well as globally. Elevated engagement, the ocean that we have within us, the incubator that we can be in a collaboration, and its subsequent congruence. Impact and how to create that in a heartfelt way. Evolved expansion, purpose, collaboration, and being a doer. And of course, legacy. So I would love to introduce you to Leanne Clune. Leanne is an international best-selling author, conscious cash flow coach, and CEO and facilitator of the Radiant series of multi-author books. She mentors visionary leader entrepreneurs to catapult their visibility, impact, and to leave a legacy. With over 16 years experience running her own professional finance company, she has helped hundreds of clients save millions of dollars collectively. Her experience led her to see the limitations in the traditional finance system, particularly for women. This led to her creating several cash flow transformation programs, including Creative Energetic Millionaires. Leanne lives with her husband and 3 sons on 1 acre of tropical paradise in the Gold Coast hinterland. And I have known Leanne for a number of years now, particularly over the course of this year. And I know Leanne to be such a passionate businesswoman, incredibly compassionate with just how much love and support she puts out, not only into the business world, but throughout her own networks. And I also love how Leanne can just tune into the big picture of life and the big picture of business and how we can create that for ourselves in our lives in a really effortless and joyful way. So it's an absolute delight to work with you, Leanne.
Thank you so much, Sasha. Oh, that was beautiful. Now, I want to introduce Sasha Bonnay to everybody. Sasha Bonnay is a transformation coach, group facilitator, intuitive mentor, international #1 best-selling author, and keynote speaker. Following a 12-year corporate career in human resources, she has since spent 16 years in intuitive coaching and mentoring, facilitating personal and professional development, as well as group facilitation. She is a master coach who brings her engaging, passionate, and nurturing approach to business transformation, entrepreneurial collaboration, and personal mastery, running programs on the inspired professional and living life at altitude. Her passion is to create worldwide change through inspiring and empowering professionals and entrepreneurs to find their truth and path of happiness through conscious living and leadership. Sashua lives with her husband and Maremma, Italian sheepdog, on acreage in Gippsland. And I know Sashua to be one of the most authentic people that I have the pleasure of knowing personally and working with collaboratively. She's one of the most, she lives her truth, and I know her to dive straight in and follow her path. So we're actually very, very similar, Sashua and I. And we have an incredible connection together, and we are, collaborating amazingly. So thank you, Sashua, for everything you do.
Oh, thank you, Leanne. It's such a beautiful opportunity to not only be with you here today, but also for the amazing ongoing collaboration that we have together. And so now we'd like to turn the attention to all of you watching us here today and bring you into this journey with us. So before we begin, we would really love to support you in getting the most out of this masterclass and its possibilities. So it will be interactive for those who would like to join in along the way. So let's start by getting 3 key words that represent your vision for your future at this time. So you may like to pause the video for a moment, but I'd invite you to write those down, and we will come back to those words a little later. So that's 3 key words to represent your vision for your future at this time. All right, so let's begin. Our first chapter in this story is about having a confident connection, not only with yourself, but also your audience and your story. And quite often, this is a step that can be missed, particularly the confident connection with yourself. And today we're going to be doing a bit of a dive into just how important that is and how you can do that for yourself. So, why is a connection with yourself so important? Well, it's the difference between all of these things. It's the difference between getting out of bed feeling mediocre or feeling enthusiastic, energized for the day ahead. It's the difference between your inner dialogue sounding critical or doubting, or instead being reflective and acknowledging in those last few minutes before you fall asleep at night. It's the difference between just living the days one after another, or instead having clarity and momentum in your direction in life. It's the difference between whether you are living the same old traits of your personality since childhood, or really discovering the richness and sharing the magic that you have come to share with the world. It's the difference between going along oblivious to the possibilities in the hope that things work out if you work hard enough, versus being in powerful synchronicity in the right place at the right time with the right people, creating opportunities and expansion everywhere you go. And that's just to name a few. So in confidently connecting with yourself, these are what we've just mentioned, some of the things that fuel us on a daily basis, week after week, month after month, year after year, and decade after decade, because we know it's a long, beautiful journey that does need fuel. I loved this quote, which is a really old one, obviously, D.H. Lawrence. I want to live my life so that my nights are not full of regrets. And I think even for those of us who are on the journey, we're always reflecting on what we could do, what we have done, have we done enough, is there more? And we've got that constant drive within us. And so it's important that we establish that really strong connection with ourselves so that we are feeling fulfilled and accomplished and self-loving at the end of each and every day. So I'm going to share a bit of my own story right now, and that is the story of an author. So I'd like to share a little story of becoming an author. And I always thought personally that writing a book was what other people did. Those that were good at writing, they had lots of time, so it seemed, you know, they were super organized. People who believed that they knew everything there was to know on a particular subject to the point where, you know, they could be this supreme expert, you know, to the point of putting it into print. They were people who were really wise and their container was full and they just had to share it. So this was like, you know, something that I held in very high esteem, like, oh, it's an author and they, you know, do all these things. So much so that for a long time for me, it felt out of reach, actually becoming an author. So I also went through, you know, those phases of, you know, having imposter syndrome and who would I be to write a book? You know, there are so many more wise people and experienced people in the world. I was telling myself I don't have any experience writing a book. You know, what will people think when they read it? What if I hate it in years to come and regret it? You know, all of those things. And then I also saw, you know, other people in the marketplace just kind of spurting out books like a production factory, it seemed like, you know, just part of their marketing campaign that may or may not have helped their business. But to me, it felt kind of soulless, or even an ego trip, if I were to be really honest. And that's how I felt for many years around the whole subject of writing a book. So for a long time, I just talked myself out of it, or talked myself out of even considering writing a book. It was something that other people did, and maybe I'll do it, much further down the track. Now, for those who know me, I work very intuitively with the universe. It's my training, and it's how I run my life. It's how I run my business. So when the universe brings me signs or impressions, I listen. So when I found myself spontaneously in a Facebook page one day earlier this year, and I am not a Facebooker. I had only been in this group like 3 times, and I've never been in it since again. I was immediately drawn to one of Leanne's posts inviting authors to write in her last book. Its impact and possibilities just of that post really struck me right in that first moment. And I knew that from that very moment, I was going to be in that book. And I think I messaged Leanne within 2 minutes of seeing that post saying, I'm in, and the rest is history. So the universe in that moment told me that it was my opportunity to step in and step up. So without overthinking it, without doubting if I could, whether I had the writing skills, the time, the stories, all the things that were required, I did it anyway. And now, amazingly, I am also a best-selling international author of Radiant books. I went through an amazing, uplifting journey of going through the author program, having developed amazing connections with all the other fellow authors, and of course, you, Leanne. Created some really amazing collaboration opportunities that have massive potential and are growing, as fast as lightning. But the real reason is it was such a heartfelt journey for me. Firstly, I really acknowledge the incredible journey that I had so far in my life, just in writing my chapter, and the wisdom that I had accumulated over that time. So it was really quite an experience of self-acknowledgement, which is, very, very empowering. Secondly, it was an amazing fulfillment and very humbling to believe that my stories and the stories of the other authors could potentially touch other people's lives and may just change even one or possibly many people's lives, and may impact their trajectory in a positive or profound way, and that those consequences may ripple throughout the world. So others did it for me. Others have shared their stories to help me in my understanding. So I'm just paying it forward. So I'd like now to take us into a meditation. This meditation I call the woe to wow meditation. So this is to move us from a woe is me state that you might be feeling down or unaccomplished or tired, or like the hard slog is wearing you thin, to that wow feeling. And I'm not talking about rah, rah, let's get up in our head wow. I mean, you're feeling inspired. You're feeling activated with a feeling for where you're heading. So with that in mind, I would invite you at this point to get comfortable in your chair and close your eyes if you wish to. Just take a big, deep breath in and out. And really bring yourself just into your heart space. I wanted you to take yourself into the feeling of who you are today. Who are you? How do you feel about this person? Do you know them well? Really well? What are they like? Now, I want you to go a little deeper. What are they really like under the surface? What are their greatest dreams in life? Now, I want you to project yourself forward 10 years from now. How do you want to be in 10 years' time? Who do you want to be inside? Not your personality, just inside you. Now, in your 10-year-on self, imagine if all goes as well as it possibly could throughout these next 10 years, if all your needs were met, if everything fell into place, if you had all the resources at your disposal, what visions have you realized? What have you accomplished? How does that feel? Now, what attributes are you displaying that you believe helped make that happen? What attributes contributed to these successes? Now, take a moment to acknowledge your future self for the accomplishments that they have achieved. Tell them how proud you are of them for their determination, their clarity, their tenacity, their passion. And now put a bookmark in this feeling so that you can go back to this feeling at any time. This feeling of your activated self. Now, when you're ready, just gently come back into your present awareness. You can take a big, deep breath in and out. When you exhale, open your eyes. And if you'd like to, I'd invite you to pause the recording just to note down any reflections of any observations or insights that you received throughout that meditation. Here are a few questions that you might like to reflect on. Your current self and how they felt. You in 10 years. Your visions realized, what were they? What attributes you displayed? And how did that future self make you feel? So just pause the recording now if you'd like to take a moment to reflect on those questions. Always good to do it in the moment. Okay, so now we are going to move on to a different type of confident connection. This is confident connection with your audience. So, as we know, people now are looking for an even deeper connection with their service providers. It's gone way beyond know, like, and trust. And it's also, I believe, moved on to noticing, believing, acting to step into opportunity with that service provider, and then committing. So there's a lot more to it now, and it's driving in us the need to be even more authentic and more open and vulnerable as to who we are to enable that relationship to develop. So here's how you can connect with them, how you can connect with others and your audience, is to be unforgettable. You know, don't be afraid to show your uniqueness and everything there is to it, because that is what will, you know, make that connection personal. Take it to a CC, as I like to call it. That is building a collective community, not just trying to collect customers. Very different approach. Don't be afraid to show your human qualities. We are all human. We are all on our learning journey. Build connection over time. That can happen as quickly as a 30-second impression as you walk into a room, or you do a 30-second video. It could be a 30-month exploration, or it could be a 10-year relationship. But it is absolutely worth the investment. Now, how about the other way round? How about connecting them with you? Now, what is it that I mean by that? So what's really important is that you live in the world of your audience, that you can answer some more intimate questions than the normal avatar questions that are out there on how your audience feels. There are many different questions, and I encourage you to brainstorm lots of different types. I've just put a few as examples here for today. So what is the greatest challenge in life or business for these people? Why have they not been able to conquer this for themselves so far? What do they worry about as they fall asleep each night? And what motivates them to jump out of bed in the morning? Now, in your reflection, you can consider, how does this relate to your product and service? But even more deeply, how does this relate to you? Because quite often like attracts like. Quite often you're on the journey to help others who are on a very similar journey, but perhaps just on a different stage along the path. Now, our next step is confident connection through your stories. And stories is a big theme, obviously, throughout this masterclass. And a few tips on how you can really put your stories out there to really connect intimately with your audience is to let your story be powerful. Let it be memorable. Let it be completely from your heart. Let it be honest. Start with an action, not so much intro, just get straight into the story. Have it be uplifting, show your passion, and that you are really genuine about the lessons that you are learning or the theme of your story. And let your audience come to their own conclusion. So a reflection question for you, and we'll be working on a few reflections throughout this masterclass. So this is really just to get your taste buds going. Take a moment to tune into a story from your past, something that is really meaningful to you. something that you haven't used as a story in business before, but it created real impact in your life. So what was this story? And how does its message relate to your magic or business now? So I'm just going to plant that seed with you. That's almost step one of us starting to unravel the stories that you have inside of you. So we're giving you multiple opportunities to do that today. If you like to, you're invited to pause the video again here and just tune into what that story might be. All right. So the important thing to remember is that writing your story can quite often change the way you see the world, as well as how others see the world. So remember, it is a journey in itself. Okay, so let's move on to chapter 2. Chapter 2 in our story of activating your vision is inspiring activation for clarity, vision, and action. So when we're inspiring activation, it's very important that we look at 3 different elements: conscious clarity, expanded vision, and stepping into amplified action. So why is it that we want to activate ourselves? What does actually activating ourselves even mean? So when we are feeling activated, it increases the chance of change occurring and sustaining. It gives us higher energy. We feel more motivated. Our actions can be effortless. Our efforts are impactful. Our progress can be more swift. And our fulfillment is realized quicker and quite often more potently. So how do we actually have or gain conscious clarity? So if you were to look at what is your current trajectory, where is it taking you? And then ask yourself the question, is that where you actually want to head? Then in the reflections of that question, how does that inform what actions you need to take now? So again, you might like to note those questions down or press the pause button and take a moment to reflect on those questions. Our next step is our expanded vision. Quite often we can be quite confined in actually setting our vision because we are setting them within certain rules and certain parameters and, you know, certain this and certain that. But if we do a what if exercise, and we started to touch on this in the meditation, what if you had unlimited resources? You had unlimited funds, supplies, you had all the premises you need, you had all the skills, you had all the people, you had all the helpers, absolutely everything that you need. You had all the time in the world. You had unstoppable energy reserves. You had the love and support and encouragement of everyone around you. You totally run out of all other excuses. Now the question, what would be the greatest vision or achievement that you could possibly imagine reaching in your lifetime? What would that be? Do you actually know the answer to that question? So again, take a few moments to just really tune into that. See how far you can take it. Have fun with it. Do it like a what if exercise, like that girl in that box. Just have completely no parameters. Just go pie in the sky, absolutely any impressions that come your way, and just see what you come up with. What have you got to lose? All right. Then when you've started to get those creative juices going, you can start to take some amplified action. So knowing what you now know, what action could you take today to get one step closer to that grand vision? What would it be? One action that you could take. So take a moment just to note that down. Capture your insights along the way. Okay. So I'm going to tell another little story now before I hand over to Leanne. And this is what I call my activation story. So this was an amazing experience for me. This is a story about Jean, who was a client of mine. And when Jean first came to me, Jean was very, very stuck. And stuck in a marriage that felt very distant. They felt really trapped in life, and they felt like life was being imposed upon them. They were stuck in business with their spouse. They'd been trying to leave the business for about 10 years and just couldn't work their way out of it. No matter how many conversations were had and how much they tried, they couldn't get their way out of this business. They were even thinking of ending their marriage. They were yearning to live their own dreams, and they just felt tired. They knew they wanted to create impact in the world in their own unique ways, but they just had no way out, so it seemed, of where they were. So they joined one of my 12-week programs, which is the Inspired Professional, and immediately were immersing themselves in that program and therefore being activated. They were very conscientious. They did the work, and through that activation, within that 12-week incubator, after being stuck in this situation for over 10 years, they transitioned out of their business with their partner into having their own space. They started planning and developing their own business, their life's passion. They realized that it wasn't their marriage that was the pressure point at all. And then their partner was an amazing support in their life, and their marriage was rekindled with strength and renewed vigor. They realized that it was their own self-judgment and their lack of confidence that they weren't sure that they could do what they came to do. And that's what they overturned. So never underestimate how you can activate yourself to activate others. Because you may just be changing people's lives forever. Beautiful. Okay, so I'd love to pass over to you now, Leanne, for our third chapter.
Thank you, Sashua. And I'm going to be going through chapter 3, visibility. When I talk about visibility, I'm talking about visibility on a deep, authentic base. I'm not talking about posting life highlights or snippets of your best life on social media. It's about sharing our heartfelt stories, our challenges, and our triumphs. It is about showing our audience our soulful journey of growth and learning in our vulnerable truth. It is about being authentic enough to share that you are still on your journey. We can still position as an expert in our field whilst remaining real and vulnerable. People buy from people who they know, like, and trust, and they are moving away from big institutions and moving towards more deeply who they do business with, knowing more deeply on a very intimate level who they do business with, who they purchase products from. By being authentic in our visibility, we are inviting people into a deeper look into our lives. I'd like to share a personal story myself. And when COVID first hit, as I mentioned before, I was given the opportunity to write a chapter in a highly leveraged multi-author book. And writing is a skill that has always come quite natural to me. So looking back on my finance career, I wrote a lot. Now, that was unusual in that career. I wrote regular finance articles in the local newspaper, and I wrote success stories of my clients, changing names, etc., and personal details, of course. But I wrote out how I helped my clients as a story. And it absolutely catapulted my business back then because people relate to stories. People don't relate if you say, oh, I refinanced this person and I saved them this amount of money. But you get the story of where the couple was, for instance. What was their issue? They went to their bank and they couldn't get the funds to purchase an investment property. They were declined. What did I do? Well, I helped them. I worked out that actually they could do it. They just had to do 1, 2, 3, 4 first, and then we could do it. And how did that make them feel? They were amazed. They were shocked. They thought that they weren't able to get that money and that funding. So I'm very experienced in writing. And when I was asked to write a multi-author book, I had to do a deep dive and write about me personally. Now, that's something that I was not experienced in doing. And not to the whole world.
Yes.
So that was actually being very vulnerable. And I had so many realizations from this because the thing is, I would always be achieving the next goal. Like I was your typical high achieving entrepreneur. Achieve something onto the next, like put the bar higher, 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 and on and on and on. I never talked about the challenges that I had in my business and in my life along the way. So people could view me as being unrealistic and, she's just a superwoman. Sometimes people would describe me as superwoman. And that was not the case at all. I had my challenges. So diving deep into them and writing about them was an absolutely life-changing experience for me. So many people read my story and I didn't even know. I put snippets on it and I documented it the whole way through via social media. And you never know who is watching, listening, and slinking around in the background, not commenting, not liking anything, not saying a word. You absolutely have got no idea how far your stories go and how much they impact people by putting it out there.
Yeah.
So a big part of this writing in the chapter was the support of a group of authors, all brainstorming and all going through the experience together, learning and growing off each other, which was incredible and really helped. I mean, we had a timeline, so we had to get it done. And if we hit roadblocks, we were there to support each other, which is really essential, I believe, and very different from attempting to write a solo book, which can be quite a lonely journey. So I'm going to run a technique actually now. And running a business throws you into huge personal growth. This is all part of being entrepreneurial. Entrepreneurs also, as I have found from working with them closely in the finance space, have the most incredible stories within them. Many of them don't think too much about the massive obstacles that they have overcome as they are continuously striving, like I was, for the next goal and the next and the next. They are very driven and ambitious. So I invite you to take a moment and think back on your life. Think back 5, 10, 20, or more years if you're able to, depending on your age. And I want you to pinpoint one significant event that absolutely changed the trajectory of your life. It may have been a very traumatic event at the time, which you have now worked through and healed. I want you to think of the times you were at the fork in the road in your life. And what happened? So you may want to pause the recording here for some time just to really think on that. And how I did it when I was writing my chapter is I actually wrote down the years. So I went back and I wrote down, 2018, 2017. I wrote back the years and I wrote the significant events that happened in those years. It's amazing that we don't do this. And it's incredible. It's an incredibly powerful exercise. So I want you to also ask yourself, how did that event put you on your path that you are on now? And again, you may want to pause to complete this. Writing and sharing about this and linking it strategically to why and how you do business now will absolutely increase your visibility and impact in the world. Now I want you to think about the same story, the same moment in time, and ask yourself, if I were to write about this, what would be the 3 main components of my story? So really think deeply about that. I invite you to pause and really reflect on that. See what comes out for you. Any huge challenge you have overcome in your life can be your keys to share your lessons and teach others in a truly authentic way. This will magnetize new soul clients into your business. You have done it and conquered it. You are coming from a place of embodiment and experience rather than trying to tell people what to do in their business and trying to use a cookie cutter approach.
Beautiful. Well, thank you very much, Leanne. So we're going to continue our story now with chapter 4, which is elevated engagement. So we've just talked about visibility in terms of actioning and activating your vision. Now it's about elevated engagement. So I'm going to be talking through 3 different elements. One is own your ocean, being in an elevated incubator, and your congruent delivery. So up till this point in our story so far, we've mostly been focusing on you. and your reflection. Now we're changing gears and we're talking about now actually being in a high vibration book collaboration and what that can feel like and look like for you. All right, own your ocean. Now, what do I mean by that? Everyone has an ocean. Everyone has a massive wet reservoir of wisdom and experiences that we all tap into. And the first one, of course, is inside you. It's what I like to call your vibrational real estate. And it's the space that your energy occupies and how much space is there in that. So it's all of our wisdom, our abundance of wisdom and experiences and everything that we've learned along the way. And there is a massive resource there that we inevitably underestimate. Then we have the broader ocean, which is what space do you occupy in the marketplace? So just tune into that for a moment. What space do you occupy within the marketplace? Now imagine if you're fully tapping into owning your own ocean inside of you, you will naturally be expanding into the marketplace in exponential ways. So is your ocean in the marketplace like the Indian Ocean? Or is it perhaps like the Torres Strait? Or is it more like the Tweed River? How far exactly does your ocean go? So here's a way how you can expand your ocean by tapping into your magic. So it's important that we get clarity on how you contribute in your own unique way. It's easier for us to look at everybody else out there and what they're doing and, oh, that's a great idea. And, oh, didn't they do amazingly? And it's all great to do our research and feel what's happening out there. I find the most impactful things that I put out in the world are those that I have just gotten in reflections and insights in my own personal incubator. Now, as I said, I work very intuitively. But that space, that's just you, that just uniquely you pocket is where I believe all the magic is created. Now, also it's about tapping into your why. So checking the alignment with who you are and what you're here to do. So everything out there in the marketplace should resonate with that and be in alignment with truly who you are. Who is your avatar? Now, there's lots of ways that people talk about tuning into that. And we asked you some questions earlier that were a deeper dive into your avatar, more personal questions, and ensuring that the people that you're working with really are consistent with your target clients, your sweet spot of clients, to benefit your business growth, to benefit them. And also the energy is just so uplifted, rather than you trying to grab any client that's floating around, but actually clients who are in true alignment with you. You know the difference. I know you know the difference. And so it's important just to go with those avatars who are in that synchronicity with you. It's important to know the problem that you solve. So you have clarity in your messaging, you have synergy with collaborations when you start to get into a collaboration experience. That you also know your solution, that you've got clarity with your experience, your knowledge, your wisdom, and your offerings. And this is kind of a bit of a journey through these steps too. If you start with step number 1 and then work through this, then all these end solutions and products will be that much more potent. So when we do get to your product or your service, they are completely unique to you. They are absolutely on point with those you wish to serve, and they will create amazing impact for your clients. So the next step is being in an elevated incubator. So what do we mean by elevated incubator? Well, that is a high collaboration a high vibration book collaboration. That is an amazing incubator of people who have all been attracted to the same core message. And we are pooling our resources. We are pooling together rather than working as these really determined solo entrepreneurs and small business owners, to working within a collective team of people that are all focused on the common goal. So I believe 1 + 1 is absolutely greater than 2. And I've had the amazing experience of being a part of Leanne's most recent book collaboration. And it was absolutely that experience in so many ways, and all the uniqueness that everybody brought to that situation. So what can actually be achieved through a high vibe collab? Well, you are combining your energies, you are combining your visions, and that creates this amazing momentum and excitement. I just think back to our launch date, Leanne, of launching that book, and it was just, it was into a new stratosphere.
It was.
And that's really what's possible. You can imagine 22 people all together pulling towards this same goal. We were all about learning new skills from one another. You know, it was a beautiful sharing and synchronicity of everyone having their wisdom, everyone having their moments in sharing that wisdom. So you're constantly increasing your visibility and your credibility. Firstly, within that container, you know, of 22 or 33 or however many people are in the experience. You know, there's potential clients, collaborations, referral partners, all sorts of people in that group. And you get to know each other really quite intimately. But also you're pooling together to increase your ocean, your visibility out there in the world. You're creating, of course, then a bigger impact, reaching new audiences that you wouldn't have touched before, because you know, you can have so many people from different walks of life and different industries, different countries. It's about exploring a new area of interest or industry. You know, you start connecting with people in ways you never thought how. And somehow it just expands into all sorts of possibilities. And it's about creating new opportunities. And then, of course, more streams of income. So here's the feeling of being on a solo mission. Us little solo entrepreneurs who are doing our thing. We've got our magic. We're feeling empowered. We go out into the world every day and we make whatever magic we can make happen on a daily basis. And we have a certain reach. We have our ocean. We have our audience, and we have our visibility. Now, here's what it looks like in a high vibration book collaboration. Whoa.
Oh, wow. It does feel like that too.
It absolutely does. And we know because we've immersed ourselves in it. So this is the power of the collective. This is how much reach we can possibly have. We are exponentially growing our audience. We are exponentially increasing our visibility. And it is an amazing process that if you're really tuning into it, tapping into it, and being, you know, pooling in that energy and really making it happen, just so much magic can happen as a result of that. And you can really start, you know, totally going globally. You can barely see the map behind that because there's so much coverage. That's what it feels like, you know, just making amazing connections.
Amazing.
Very powerful. So that is really the benefits of being part of this incubator, is really testament to, you know, everything that being in a book collaboration is all about. All right, so just to finish off that is how congruent we are then in our delivery. So we've all pulled together. We're in a high vibration container. We are very clear on our core objective. Our alignment is super powerful. We have some really big picture, audacious aspirations, particularly when Leanne's leading the project and particularly when I've joined in as well. So yes. This new one is going to be amazing. So the visibility, the impact, the legacy will just be growing exponentially. And what we find is that in that container, that high vibration container, is that everyone steps in. You know what I mean? They step into the experience and really make it happen. And the more people step in, of course, the more experiences that are possible. So this is testament to the people that are attracted to Leanne's publishing process. And the coaching program that Leanne and I are now going to be moving forward with for the next Radiant book is really ensuring that authors are supported, they're nurtured, they're challenged and activated, you know, to be the most absolute version of themselves and to really get the most out of the process for their own personal growth and, of course, for the growth of their business. So much congruency and alignment in how that works because we have that very clear path to our goals together.
Beautiful, Sasha. I love that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about chapter 5, which is impact. And when I think of impact, I am thinking of shifting people at the core of their being, really creating transformational content rather than information that you can just look up on Google. Anyone can do that. To really shift and move people from the core, it starts with you, your journey, and what have you shifted and changed from your core. This is your personal journey of transformation. It is not information. It is your life-changing human experiences. You don't have to write an entire book on your own in order to have this impact on people and be a published author. The publishing industry has changed so significantly over the last 10 years that, like Sashua was saying, these collaboration books are an incredible way to make huge impact into the world with your personal brand and your business. By articulating your deep transformational journey in writing, people can see their journey in you. They can see how you moved through your challenges. Remember, they may be where you once were in life before you ever overcame all your challenges. So by writing your authentic story, you are proving to them you have done it, and you are positioning as an expert, and it catapults you into the stratosphere because you're not just drawing from your knowledge, you're drawing from your experience, having lived it and gone through it, as hard as it was at the time. With the rise in the consciousness on the planet, people can sense inauthenticity very quickly now. It is no longer enough to be an expert in your designated area of business. You need to be able to connect and inspire people with your whole true self. By writing from your heart, you ignite that light within them to take action and to start shifting their life. So I want to ask a few questions about your business, and you may want to pause here and think about these. I ask these in the author training in my programs. So I want you to think about, how does your business impact your life? And just write down whatever flows to you from that. How does your business impact your clients' lives? And how does your business impact the world at large? So I invite you to pause the video and deeply reflect on these questions. You might be surprised at what comes out. Okay, so moving on. I want to ask you, what would happen if you could expand your impact in the world by reaching 20 or 30 times the amount of people you normally reach on your own?
Wow.
What would that do for you personally? And what would that do for your business? That's what I call impact.
Absolutely. All right, so we will now move on to chapter 6 of our 7 chapters. And this one is about evolved expansion. So this is where we are really gaining momentum, particularly after expanding our impact. So the first part of our evolved expansion is being really purpose-driven, is what I like to call being a beer. That is just being you, being your authentic self, having that heart of a lion, feeling empowered, propelled, ignited, inspired, determined. In our Radiant book coaching programs, you will be supported into finding your be space, to live it and come from that space before going out into the world, before writing a chapter, before, trying to put yourself out in the marketplace. Because if you do that phase first, you'll be so much more impactful and authentic when you go out into the world. Being in a conscious collaboration, and as we've talked about a little bit, but taking it a bit further, is about fostering relationships and encouraging collaborations. So in this incubator of a multi-author book, there's so many possibilities, as we've mentioned. There's many gifts, like literal gifts, that are shared amongst the authors. So many of the authors, as we were going through to launch, said, I want to give all the other authors a prize or a gift or something. So there were vouchers and all sorts of things exchanging hands.
That was amazing.
It was amazing. It was, I want to give to you and I want to give to you. And it was just like, you got 22 gifts pretty much, from all these different directions. So it was an amazing experience of community and coming together and just wanting to be joyful and share, for everyone's expansion as we were all learning and growing with each other. Multiple collaborations have come out of it and continue to be explored. So that's the beautiful thing. We're in a pocket of time together, but the relationships continue. The relationships continue on. So one amazing collaboration that came out of it is Leanne and myself moving forward in the next Radiant book project, which was completely divinely inspired. None of us knew it was coming, but on the morning of launch day, the inspiration came like a crack of lightning, and we both went, absolutely. So, that was amazing, and it has opened up a whole new trajectory for us both in our own businesses, a whole new avenue and arm to our businesses. And there's all sorts of collaborations being explored throughout amongst the Radiant author community. So, of course, joining that community is not just within the one book that you might participate in. It will eventually then be across the whole network. So that's amazing. So it's an ever evolving community in that way. It's forever evolving. And I know that it's not going to be a short-term thing. This is like, the beginning of a real legacy that's being built. And the best part of it is that you get to know amazing stories of entrepreneurs and really deep stories to really connect with, to really learn from for yourself. And then, of course, to share those stories for the benefit of others as well. So amazing. We're all busy little bees sharing each other's stories along the way.
We sure are.
Another part of being in evolved expansion is that it tends to create daring doers. So daring doers are like a marketing machine. You know, it was amazing the momentum we had. I know, Leanne, you've shared that even the night before we launched, as we all slept, we already became best-selling authors in our sleep before we'd even launched the book. So that was amazing. It was just on Amazon, you know, a few hours before, and it just went like lightning. And then, of course, over the coming day, we became international bestsellers in multiple categories. So that was an incredible experience. But the whole element of the marketing machine is that we were all bouncing off each other's networks. You know, remember that slide with all the red circles? You know, that's what we were doing. And it's just an electric feeling. So we're forming new business alliances. We're forming new affiliates with some people. You might form referral partner opportunities. There's just so much growth in that phase. It is amazing and continues to be. All right. So now to our final chapter.
Chapter 7, legacy. I love talking about legacy. I really associate books with legacy. So I want to build on the exercise we did in chapter 3, visibility, where we looked back on our life and pinpointed one event that changed the trajectory of our life and our business forever. So I invite you to look back over your life to date and to think about what has been the theme of your life. And we are just scraping the surface of all of this content that we're going through today. We are literally at the tip of the iceberg in this masterclass, aren't we, Sashua? There's so much more to explore, and we go into that in our multi-author book project. So I want you to reflect on what has been the theme of your life. You may not ever have thought of this before. What I have found by stepping into my legacy work is I look back and I realized why I did certain things at certain times in my life. It's like I can look back and join the dots. But whilst you're doing it, you can't join them yourself. And it may have seemed like I made some big, bold decisions during the past and changed my trajectory significantly. But I look back now and I can see why I studied a science degree initially straight out of school rather. I can see why I did that. I got put on a path. I was always very academic, and I got into a biochemistry degree in Geelong in Victoria at Deakin University. And I started that degree, and I've always been very intuitive, and you know, people call me a wise soul. I've always been years ahead of my age. So I have deep insights and very intuitively led, always have been. I started with my biochemistry degree, and I was doing I think it was a 15-page chemical equation one day. And it dawned on me that I am not suited to working in a laboratory and doing mathematical and chemical equations that are pages and pages and pages. And I think actually I remember it was when I was doing, it's called a titration. It's a chemistry technique where we had to do we had to go drop by drop and create the chemical reaction in this beaker that was underneath this, I can't even remember what it was called now, but like a big test tube thing. And I went half a drop over and my whole experiment was completely destroyed. And I remember thinking, I am not working in a laboratory. That is it. Half a drop. You've got to be kidding me. That did it for me. And then I had to write out my chemical equation, and my chemistry experiment didn't even work. And I still had 15 pages of mathematics and chemistry equation to do. So that was it. And I thought, what am I going to do? So I applied to change my major to a marine biology major. I thought, I'm outdoors, I'm going to be in the sun, and that should be a great thing to do. So I did that. I made this great, big, bold move, continuing with my science degree, but changing the major. And I had to move 4,000 kilometers away from my home, my family, every single person that I knew when I was 19 years old. And growing up, I had a very secure, safe, stable childhood. I remember 2 homes that we lived in. That was it. So this was absolutely mammoth for me to do. I did not know one person in Townsville, for far north Queensland, when I moved up there. I was absolutely petrified, but so driven. I knew that I had to do it.
Yeah.
And it was one of the best decisions I had ever made in my whole entire life. Leaving my comfort zone back in Geelong, Victoria, and living a completely new life in Townsville. I had to learn to live again in a lot of respects. I didn't know about tropical cyclones, wasn't used to all the hazards of living in far north Queensland, like crocodiles. It was a whole new world, and it was so bold and courageous when I look back. And I've done this several times over my life. So it's interesting when you join the dots, because 5 years ago, my husband and I ended up in Western Australia, and I met my husband in Townsville. He was my next door neighbor. I mean, what on earth? What are the chances?
Wow.
And we ended up moving back to Western Australia and spending quite a lot of time there. His family's over there. And then 5 years ago, we made another hugely bold, courageous move. And we moved from Western Australia to the Gold Coast, and we did it again. We didn't know anyone. It was completely from intuition. We knew that we had to at least try it, or we would regret. And we know that life's too short to regret. We also knew that what's the worst that can happen? We'll try it for a year or 2 years. If it doesn't work out, we've still got our house in Western Australia. We can go back. So as I look at my life and I join the dots, I can see how I got to where I am now. And how I had to experience these things and move and shift through them to be able to very bravely do the work that I do now. So I'm wondering who wants to share and just contemplate it. You may want to pause the video, but have a think about what the theme of your life has been. So for mine, it's been change. And that is not how I grew up. So it petrified me, and I just threw, and it's also about just throwing myself in before I'm ready and following my intuition and trusting. So have a think about what your theme in life is. And legacy is about shifting from working in your profession or business and into service to the world. It's a higher vibrational state, and it requires you to have gone through several stages, like I was explaining from my life, to be able to lead into that. It's not something we click straight into, not normally anyway. So we generally have quite a bit of experience there first. So regardless of where you are now in your journey, I invite you to answer these questions. How can you be of the most service in this lifetime? And what is your greatest contribution to the world? So definitely inviting you to pause and reflect. These are big questions, and the insights that you can gain from these are incredible. All right. Well, that's the end of our 7 chapters.
It is indeed. So what an amazing journey that we have just taken you through. We know there is literally a lot of chapters to that story. And we hope you enjoyed our stories as we went through. But just to do a quick recap. So we started off in really taking the opportunity to connect in with yourself, get that confident connection with you. It really all begins there. When you do that, then you can start to develop that confident connection with yourself and your audience. So you to them and them to you. Then it's about really starting to connect in with your stories. And as you've seen, and as we've displayed throughout this session together, is that we're constantly checking in on what our stories are, because it's very easy to underestimate the power of our own stories, because they're just our stories. They're just, things that happen to us in our life. And, little is me and I'm just on my own journey. But they can be very powerful for other people on their own journey, because as Leanne shared, you might be a bit further down the path than other people who are facing a very similar situation. And so what an incredible gift to share our stories as others have with us as well, which has ignited us on our journey. Our second step is then really taking that inspirational activation. How do we activate ourselves? How do we really tune into what's possible for us this lifetime through really consciously having that clarity, stepping into that informed action, and really expanding our vision of what's possible? The third is, of course, visibility, which Leanne took us through, which was how do we get really visible in the market, but in a very genuine and authentic way. We are moving beyond know, like, and trust. We all know that. That and the understanding of that has almost been diluted to the point where social media has just been drowned. So it's lost that real sort of authenticity. So there's more to that. There's more to the connection. There's more to creating stories and getting yourself out there in a meaningful, uplifting way. And that's what we are choosing to do in this incubator and encourage you to do as well. Our fourth step is then elevated engagement. So we're now stepping into this amazing incubator of, however many authors end up being in the next book, and knowing that together we can amplify the effects of how we actually go out there into the world. It might manifest into collaborations, referral partner opportunities, learning from each other, creating amazing, authentic friendships. There was so many healings and exchanges and support and all sorts of things that happened in our previous book. And it was beautiful. It was just magical to see people pooling together. And being elevated in our engagement with each other also meant that when we went out into the marketplace, our reach was exponential, our visibility was exponential, everything was amplified, and just this really amazing, genuine group of people going out and creating impact. So it was an incredible process. Then our fifth step is about impact. How do we actually create that impact? How do we check in with ourselves and ask ourselves those really important reflective questions so that we're not just knee-jerk going out into the marketplace with, oh yeah, I'll just do that and I'll do that and I'll send that and I'll do my, Facebook post schedule, whatever that is. I've never done it before in my life, but apparently that's what people do. and do all those fancy things. And it feels to me very intellectual, very scheduled, very, textbook. And it just loses the juice. It loses the magic, so we're about creating magic in your impact. Then our sixth chapter was about our evolved expansion, really taking it to the next level, letting it grow and be nurtured. And it's like this steamroll effect that just keeps growing and growing into all the different possibilities. And we're still in amongst that right now. Even after the fact, we are still, feeling those ripple effects and the things that happened and were created in us being together in that most recent book. So that's exciting. And of course, we're talking about being really daring doers. So one of our big learnings from that chapter is that the more we do all of these steps in this process and support authors going through each of the processes, is that we've talked about today and more, because there's only so much we can fit into a masterclass, is that we really attract doers, people who want to step in, they want to engage, they want to step in and step up into this opportunity and what it can create. Because as a collective, the more we are all aligned with a common purpose, the more we are all engaged and passionate about reaching that goal and even moving beyond it, then of course our results are incredible. They are amplified to the nth degree. And then of course, finally, our chapter 7 is about legacy. And legacy is where it all ends. What footprints are we going to leave in the sands of time? What difference are we actually going to create in the world? And I feel that sometimes people leave that question to go, well, what legacy am I going to leave by the end of my lifetime? But what I would encourage you to tune into is to start now. Start tuning in now to what your legacy is, because it's not something to put off. It's a continual evolution. It's a continuation of all your experiences. So keep building it, let it grow organically. What is that one action you are going to take to create that legacy and your expanded vision that you tuned into in this masterclass today? All right. I think that's a bit of an overview of what we've covered so far. Totally off the cuff.
Sure is. Thank you, Sashua. That was excellent.
Pleasure.
So
all right.
We've got one last slide, have we?
Yeah, well, we were going to talk about the 3 different packages that
yes.
we do. So yes, there is that. Maybe we do this one first. That's a great idea. Okay, so I guess for us, for Leanne and I, this is our view of what it is really like to be part of a high vibration book collaboration. Our confident connection with our authentic self and our audience builds through storytelling, initiating an inspired activation of our visibility in the marketplace. This elevated engagement creates impact, evolving our expansion in business and life into the legacy league.
It feels amazing. The whole process is amazing, isn't it, Sashua?
It is amazing. And I feel very fortunate that Leanne and I have, gathered these insights and been given this opportunity to really take this next book project to what feels like a whole new level. And at this point, we would like to just go through with you a little bit about our upcoming book project. So the book, Leanne, is called Radiant: Stories from Soulful Entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So if you feel a calling and an alignment with the energy that represents, obviously, we would love to hear from you and discuss what possibilities there are. Now, should we have a quick look at the different packages that we have in?
I just wanted to quickly say we're really calling in. Yes. We're specific with who we call in to our books. And that works on all different levels. But because it's a collaboration, we have to be specific with who is in. So all of our book projects are by application only. And we're really calling for the entrepreneurs who are at the leading edge in their business. So they've got the experience, they've got the knowledge, and they have got some stories to share to really propel their business into the next level. As we were talking about, that being vulnerable and authentic. So we are calling them, and we are looking at soulful entrepreneurs who are wanting to transcend their current reality and step into more of their legacy work and just catapult your business. And we have quite a few different packages available. So Sashua, would you like to go through them?
Sure, happy to. So I thought I would just show it off our landing page so people can find it there easily as well. We didn't create any fancy slides for this. This is just
straight off the landing page.
As they are, that's it. So 3 different levels of packages. And as Leanne said, we really are calling in a very, energized and, enthusiastic crew to join us in this project. As you can see, we're pretty passionate about what we do. So we love working with like-minded, like-souled people. So it may be a situation of you really wanting to expand your business and you're ready for that expansion, or also if you're really wanting to launch your business on a whole new level. So it might be that you're moving from a corporate into your own entrepreneurial venture, for instance, and you might want to leverage this type of project and opportunity to help with the momentum of that, which is a great decision. So let's start with firstly the baseline gold author program. So this is for you if you are really ready to explode in business with your visibility, with high level collaborations, everything that we've been talking about. So what's included in that package is a guidance and support on writing your chapter. Most people come in and go, I have no idea how to write a chapter. I don't even think I'm a good writer. So please rest assured that we have you covered. We will be supporting you throughout that project. It also comes with a book coaching program. So it's a very specifically designed program around a lot of the steps that we have gone through today and a whole lot more to very specifically take you through the process of going, I don't even know if I've got a chapter in me, but I really want to expand my business, through to being a published author and everything that includes in between. So it's a very comprehensive project. This is not, something that just, we'll just write a chapter and throw it in a book and publish it. And, that's not the energy that we are putting out. We are putting out for really genuine people who can put aside only 1 or perhaps 2 hours a week to this project. It's not like we're asking for lots of time because we're all very busy people. But we want to provide you with the coaching that will make this process much more effortless for you and that you feel confident to be able to step into it wholeheartedly. So we've got you. So there'll be obviously the professional editing and the formatting, the publishing on Amazon, the financial and marketing strategy that comes with it, because it's not just writing your chapter, there's all the different elements as well. A global PR marketing campaign, PR training is also part of it. The Global Summit or Festival, whatever we decide to call it at the time. And of course, there is the potential of becoming an Amazon best-selling author, which is always our goal in these programs. So the book coaching program includes anywhere from 8 to 12 60-minute group coaching calls. There's the opportunity for any SOS calls if you come along any road bumps along the way. There'll be group support activities and communications in a closed Facebook group for the duration of the project. So the Gold Author Package, paid in full, is $19.97 plus GST. There is an early bird bonus, which at the moment is on until the 20th of December. And of course, we throw in a bonus there because we can, which is a hot seat session with Leanne and myself, which is an Ask Us Anything session. So there are payment plans available, so feel free to ask us about that. Now, let's talk about the Gold VIP program. So everybody wants to be a VIP. And of course, it's a program that has been designed to fully encapsulate every obstacle that you feel you might come upon throughout this book coaching program. So it really does take it up a whole new level. And of course, the benefits of it too are going to be beyond just becoming a published author. You will find, and I know from the content that we've put together, that it is also about transforming your business, transforming how you feel even about your life, and being able to come at life from much more of a confident perspective. So this is really for that blow the lights out momentum. So you'll be immersed in that environment of being supported, encouragement, strength, having accountability and guidance, because the first program is somewhat self-managed, whereas this one is more about the accountability and guidance that you'll need along the way through, so that you can have even more success and really leverage the opportunity of being a part of this incubator. So it includes all of the first package, all of the Gold Author program, plus another $3,000 worth of training to catapult you into that new league. So it's an additional 6 group coaching sessions, only one a fortnight. So it's not a big investment in time, but there will be little projects we'll do in between to keep you focused, accountable. And of course, we can have those support calls. And I'm very much into audio coaching as well, and micro coaching. So people always tell me I'm a total over deliverer when it comes to coaching. So you will not be left behind. Let me guarantee you that.
Definitely not.
And there'll be masses of support in checklists, worksheets, techniques that we'll do around all of those beautiful elements. I won't read them all out now. You can check those out for yourself, but you can see we've really covered a lot of different things. We really will be tapping into universal insights and how do we do that? What might be blocking that? We'll be looking at how to monetize in the business side of things, how to even do engaging videos. It's so many different things to help with your entrepreneurial confidence. So the VIP package is worth over $15,000. We do have our early bird special again up until the 20th of December. So the Gold VIP package altogether is $29.94 plus GST, or you can take advantage of the payment plan there as well. Now, lastly, hold on to your hats, everybody. This is the VIP Platinum program. So this is our highest level package for those who really dare to step right in. So everything that we've talked about so far is included in this package. Plus, this is actually a 6-month deep dive as opposed to a 3-month project, which the first 2 packages are. We absolutely know that you will be ignited into areas of your life and business that you just have not touched before. So your return on investment will be amazing. It is worth over $33,000 in value, and we are limiting it to only 10 spots per book because of the immersion for you and for us, and our integrity to really be very focused in that incubator together. So you'll receive all of the gold VIP package plus 10 hours of private one-to-one coaching from both Leanne and myself, an additional 6 SOS support calls, and that can be not just on the book project, but it can be on anything that is in with Leanne and my expertise. And that covers a very broad range of topics and issues, between Leanne having a finance background and working intuitively, me having a human resources background and helping entrepreneurs set up their businesses and transition from corporate into entrepreneurship. And of course, I've been a spiritual development consultant for 16 years. So between us, we cover a lot of ground there. So there's kind of a lot of different elements that we can include in that coaching program. And of course, it's specifically tailored for you. There's no pre-prescribed program in this platinum package. It is purely designed uniquely around you and your needs. So it will be a 6-month container with enormous momentum for all of the book projects launch and everything that goes with that, as well as that overhaul for, you know, your life and your business. So the platinum VIP package is either $11.11 per month, or for the 6 months, it's the $59.95 plus GST. So again, we have the early bird special available up until the 20th of December. If you really want to start 2022 on a whole new trajectory, then this is the way to do it. You've got 2 exceptionally heartfelt, you know, involved and ready to go coaches who are absolutely would be thrilled to work with you through the process. So we highly invite you to come in and join us. And of course, in that package too, we do have an extra bonus of inviting you into our Radiant channel to promote your business, to continue to grow your audience over, you know, many months into the future. All right, so that's our overview.
Incredible. So incredible.
So
I
exciting.
just feel the energy. And I invite you to check out that landing page. You can find it at www.leanneclune, leanneclune.com.au/apply. There's detailed information in there, as Sasha went through some of it. There's videos, and there's also an apply now button if you want to apply, and we will get back to you with more information. Also, please feel invited to reach out to Sashua or myself personally after you've watched this video. We'd be more than happy to talk to you and give you more information and see if you would be suited. Like, we work that out between us. If you'd be suited, you'll actually know if you are going to be a part of this project or not. People just know, don't they, Sashua?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're very happy to engage in conversation. You know, some people are ready just like that. That was my experience. And we know that, you know, sometimes you may be wondering if you have it in you, and, you know, whether it's the right time and all those things. Just reach out. You know, we're there for you. We're happy to answer any questions that you have. And we are only interested in, you know, your best interests in stepping into this incubator with us. That is what we are calling from for the people who, you know, want to join us on this journey together.
Absolutely. So if you are ready to rocket your 2022, what an awesome sounding year.
Yes.
With that master number, manifestation year, and just really catapult your personal development and take your business and yourself to the absolute next level, we'd be honored to chat to you about this.
Absolutely.
thank you so much for watching our presentation.
And we'd like to just finish with a quick reflection if we could.
Yes.
Yeah, we've got a beautiful reflection exercise for you just to really round off the whole experience of us being in this little incubator together today. So I would invite you to remember those 3 little key words that I got you to write down at the beginning of today's session. Well, now we're going to take that a little bit further. So right now, I want you to just take a deep breath. We've just hit you with a whole lot of information. And so now let's just tune back into just your relaxed space, you and where you're at in your life, where you're at in your business, all your hopes and dreams. And I want you to, recalling those 3 key words that you had at the beginning of the session, and now want you to take it a little deeper. So I want you to write down now 3 more key words on how you have felt inspired throughout today's meditation. So I just ask you to close your eyes and we'll take that a little deeper. Tune into your vision in business or for your life, your legacy project. Just tune into your vision of your legacy. And really breathe it in. Now feel your journey towards that vision. Feel that journey and all its steps. Now feel the visibility that you want to create to reach that vision. What does that visibility feel like? Now feel the visibility and momentum that you would have with up to 33 other co-authors promoting you in a collaboration book. What would that feel like? Just feel that momentum. Feel the wheels in motion. Feel the effortlessness. Now, as you come back into the room with that awareness, now's your time to write down your 3 key words to describe, describe what you just felt. So write down your new words. And now add these words to your 3 key words that you got at the beginning of today's session. And we're going to give you a few moments now to create your activated vision mantra. That is how the vision of your legacy future feels now and how a book collaboration could help to make it happen. So use those 6 key words that you now have and finish these phrases, or change the phrases if you wish to. Please work with it however you feel drawn to, called to. So here are some ideas. The clarity of my vision is: I am confident in. I am going to, whatever inspired action you are now going to take. And I feel ... So you may wish to pause the video at this point just to give you a few moments to really tune into that. even if this is just a vision statement for your business moving forward in whatever capacity, please take the moment to just really tune in how it feels, because when we know how it feels, then it starts to become our reality. Okay, so I think that starts to wrap us up, Leanne. Of course, as Leanne mentioned, we'd love for you to reach out just to ask questions. You know, it's a very no pressure sort of conversation, just to say, hey, I've got questions. You know, what would you like to know about? How can we help you? The landing page that we just took you through is available on that bit.ly link, Radiant Soulful. So we will put that into various links out there so you can track it down, or if you just type in the bit.ly Radiant Soulful, you'll track us down there as well. All right.
Beautiful. Thank you again, everybody. It's been a pleasure presenting to you all and hoping to welcome some of you into our beautiful collaborative container starting next year.
Yes, thanks so much, everybody, for staying with us throughout this pocket of energy together. It's been an absolute pleasure to share with you all. And I'm going to finish with something you told me recently, Leanne, actually, is that you understand about 95% of entrepreneurs want to write a book, but only 1% actually do. So I thought I would end on that note.
Thank you, Sashua. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Looking forward to hearing from you.
See you soon.
Bye.